What is happening right now is not just another dramatic rumour moving across social media. It is a serious information battle unfolding in the middle of one of the most intense regional confrontations in recent memory. Iranian state-linked media has pushed a major claim suggesting that Israel's top leader may have been severely affected in recent strikes, and that message has spread quickly because it arrived during a period of reduced public visibility and extreme military tension. But the most important point is this: the claim remains unverified, and the latest publicly available information strongly suggests that the speculation has gone much further than the facts. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been seen in recent official appearances, including a press conference during the current conflict, which directly challenges the idea that he has completely disappeared or that reports of his removal are confirmed. Still, in a fast-moving regional crisis, even a temporary gap in appearances can become a powerful tool in the wider information war. The reason this story gained so much traction is easy to understand. During a period of heavy exchanges between Iran and Israel, every public appearance, every official video and every statement becomes part of the strategic picture. When a central leader is not seen as frequently as expected, rivals can use that silence to create uncertainty. That is exactly what happened here. Iranian outlets moved quickly to connect missile activity, heighten security and reduce visibility into one dramatic narrative. The message they pushed was not subtle. It was designed to suggest that a major shift had taken place at the very top of Israel's leadership during the conflict. Iranian state-aligned channels framed the strikes as highly precise and presented the silence as indirect evidence that something significant had happened. That messaging was then amplified through videos, maps, selective references to security measures, and commentary meant to make the claim feel larger and more credible than the available evidence actually supports. One of the key lines driving the speculation was the suggestion that "where is he?" had become the central question in the region. That phrase carried weight because it tapped directly into public uncertainty. In wartime, visibility matters. Leaders appear not only to inform, but also to project control, reassure allies and steady domestic confidence. When that rhythm changes, even briefly, the gap can be filled by rumour, theory and deliberate narrative shaping. At the same time, Israeli-linked reporting and independent fact-check coverage moved in the opposite direction. Several reports explicitly describe the Iranian claim as false, unverified, or part of a broader propaganda push. More importantly, Netanyahu's own public remarks during the current crisis make it very difficult to sustain the argument that he has been absent in the way some viral posts claimed. That does not mean the security situation is normal. It does mean the most explosive version of the story does not match the strongest available evidence. This is why the real story may be less about whether the claim is true and more about why it was launched so forcefully. In modern conflict, physical strikes are only one part of the battlefield. The other battlefield is perception. If one side can create doubt about leadership continuity, public confidence or command stability, that alone can have strategic value. It can unsettle markets, raise questions among allies and dominate headlines for crucial hours or even days. That wider effect was visible almost immediately. Energy markets reacted nervously as the regional confrontation deepened. Analysts watched for signs of disruption in decision-making. Any suggestion of instability at the top of Israel's government naturally triggered more questions, especially because the current confrontation is not isolated. It involves multiple fronts, multiple actors, and the constant risk of further escalation across the wider region. Another factor that added fuel to the speculation was the reported disruption to planned U.S. diplomatic movement. There were reports that Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Special Envoy for the Middle East, and Jared Kushner cancelled or postponed a planned visit to Israel. In an already tense environment, that kind of move quickly becomes part of the rumour cycle. It may be a security decision. It may be a scheduling shift. But in the middle of a conflict, such changes are often interpreted as signals, even when no formal explanation is immediately given. That is why the information environment became so charged. Iranian media used every available detail: security alerts, fewer appearances, diplomatic changes, public anxiety, and tied them together into a single dramatic conclusion. But dramatic conclusions are not the same as verified facts. Right now, the stronger evidence points to a different reality. The claim was amplified as part of a coordinated narrative push, while public reporting and recent appearances undermine the central allegation. One of the most telling parts of this entire episode is how quickly silence itself became a weapon. A temporary reduction in visibility was turned into a symbolic victory claim. That is a powerful reminder of how modern regional crises now unfold. Sometimes the most impactful move is not what is physically confirmed on the ground, but what one side can make millions of people believe before the facts fully settle. A key line that captures the emotional tone of the moment is the region is on fire, and suddenly the man who's dominated headlines for years has gone completely dark. That line explains why the rumour spread so fast. It is emotionally charged, highly visual, and perfectly shaped for a moment of confusion. But once the latest verified reporting is brought in, the picture becomes less sensational and more grounded. The region is indeed under severe pressure, but the specific claim about Netanyahu being removed from the scene is not supported by the strongest current evidence. Another important line from the narrative is this is coordinated, this is deadly serious, and it's happening live. That is actually useful, but not in the way it was originally framed. Yes, it appears coordinated, not necessarily as proof of a leadership-level strike, but as a coordinated information operation built around a real military crisis. The seriousness lies in the regional escalation itself and in the way perception can rapidly influence diplomacy, markets, and public fear. So the most accurate way to understand this moment is simple. Iran and Israel remain locked in a dangerous and fast-moving confrontation. Iranian state-linked media pushed an aggressive claim that Israel's prime minister had been critically affected or removed from public life. That claim gained traction because of temporary visibility gaps, security concerns, and diplomatic disruptions. But recent public reporting, fact-check coverage, and Netanyahu's own March 12 appearance all point away from that conclusion. The claim remains unverified, heavily disputed, and very likely part of a broader information campaign. This means the real warning is not that a confirmed leadership vacuum has emerged, but that the region has entered a phase where rumour, timing, and narrative pressure can move almost as fast as events themselves. And in a crisis this volatile, that alone is enough to keep the world on edge.